Welcome into a live edition of the KC Laboratory presented by Emprise Bank member FDIC, our amazing partners in Possible here at KC Sports Network. It is another two-man show tonight. The same way on Monday, it wasn't exactly a matter day. No Matty again. Matty is somewhere in the Caribbean on a cruise ship, arm wrestling Maui from Moana. And probably winning.
Definitely winning.
I'm here with Craig Stout, though. Craig, hello. How are you,
buddy? I'm doing well. I have been very eager to talk about this game since it was last Friday, and I say this game meaning the game that happened last Friday. Nobody's heard my takes so far on this game. Very excited to share them. Little peek behind the curtain in our group chat. We all record each other voice notes, and we call them, like little State of the Union for the day or whatever, and we just share what's on our mind. I feel like I've deleted like 4 straight days of me being like, I can't wait to talk about football with my pals. So I am very amped to get in here, talk about the Chiefs. I have a lot to say about both the previous game and the upcoming game. So, Kent, when I say I am overjoyed to be here with you, know this is several days coming that I have really, really wanted to do this.
Overjoyed to talk about the worst football game ever. I can't wait.
Yes.
Can I tell you something, Craig? I don't know. I haven't even given you the whole story on this, and this might have been one of those days that you missed everything in the group chat. The news about us leaving each other voice memos is out in public now because this is what's awesome. I don't know if you caught this in the group chat the other day. Matty and I got double booked on 810 on Thursday last week.
I didn't catch that. Okay, that was Thursday of last week, chaos day for me. So yeah, got it.
It was awesome because I was supposed to go, and they called me 7-8 minutes late. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? And they called me. They're like, Matty's on already. I said, what? And I made the joke. That because no, it's not a joke. It's true. Whatever Matty is doing to record his audio when he's doing when he's doing radio is so much better than whatever he's recording all of these voice memos with. I don't know how it's not the same input on his
It's
phone.
A bit. I am telling you, I know that he swears it's not a bit. He's got you guys all snowed. It is a bit. I swear it's in his pants pocket, and he's screaming in his garage, and that's how terrible the audio sounds. It sounds like it's through a tin can. It's awful. So it's a bit. I'm 100% sure of it because, like you said, works just fine when he's making a phone call. It's the same audio input. He's clearly screwing with all of us right now, just to piss me specifically off.
I just think the only thing is if it is a bit, there are definitely some more tender moments where he's like, hey man, sorry about whatever's going on. And he's doing it. Hey man. Sorry about whatever's happening. If it's a bit, I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about that if that's the case, if I'm being honest. But
okay, how long have we known Matty?
8, 9 years. 8, 9.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Wow.
Let's see. How many bits do we know that he has overcommitted to? Way too hard into. I fully believe this is a bit.
There's a non-zero chance his entire relationship with us is a bit.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
It might be there might be just a different version of him out there that
I applaud the commitment. I mean, I gotta say, hat tip, buddy.
If there's anybody that would, it would be him. But yeah, Craig, you kind of mentioned at the top, you've got a lot of takes. I'm in need of some groovy tunes. I'd like a little 7 minutes with Craig before we get too far into this game preview edition. So
okay.
Let's set the tone and get this let's get this thing going.
I think I might have forgot which one it is. You guys might have to correct me on which tune it is.
It's that one.
Okay. No, that is the right one. Tucker, cut the music. The defense doesn't deserve the music. So we're going to start with the defense. I'll tell you when we go to the offense. and we can bring the music back in here. We're going to start with the second pick. My goodness. They've got so much work to do in this secondary, even more than I think any of us would have expected. We're going to start with Jaden Hicks. Jaden Hicks, he's young. There's still plenty of time for him to grow into this role, but he's not playing the same football game that everybody else is right now. He had a rough preseason. This was a ridiculously rough week one. Did not seem to be in lockstep with everybody else. Did not seem to want to pass things off. Was not communicating. Was not rotating to the right spot. It was a lot of bad for Jaden Hicks. I've seen all the Chamari Connor lines that people are posting out there. 4 missed tackles, 5 for 5 completions. I believe that was in the first half. Just a bad game for Chamari Connor. Chamari Connor was head and shoulders better than Jaden Hicks when you're watching the All-22. It is embarrassing. And again, he's young. There's still time to get into this, but they need guys back there because it does not seem like they're able to communicate. These are simple passing concepts that the Chargers were employing on a lot of these. Not everything. We'll get into the Greg Roman stuff a little bit later. A 3-by-1 set where you've just got a clear out route for the number 1 or the number 2 with the other guy having like a deep over or a deep in, and then the number 3 wide receiver being able to just run a simple sit route or drag route or something like that. There was never a point where anybody in the middle of the field was communicating. Part of that's on Nick Bolton. Part of that's on the slot defenders. A lot of time that was Chamari Connor. It was especially bad when that role went to Jaden Hicks. Going back to Nick Bolton, I know that we have seen a lot of not great Nick Bolton performances. I would say that the first half of this past week against the Chargers is Nick Bolton's worst in a Chiefs uniform. Usually when I see a bad Nick Bolton game, I see 10 other guys that are doing something positive. Say a blitz is organized, they get there, they get a stop, a late rotation, late motion, something like that. There's a communication there. The defense as a whole gets a stop, but maybe there's a couple, 2-3 plays on the drive where you're looking at that going, boy, Nick's getting picked on, but everybody else seems like they're playing pretty well. That's Nick Bolton's pre-snap work. That's what you're seeing on the field there. We saw Nick Bolton get picked on, and we saw a defense that didn't know where they were supposed to be. That all falls to your mic and your ability for your mic to organize people. It did get better in the second half. They did come out. They played a little more in speed. They played a little more unified. But this was bad football in the first half. I just really could not get over how discombobulated and disorganized things were on the back end. And before I get to the defensive line, Kent, do you have any takes on pass defense, second level, third level, anything like that you gained from either watching more or taking some time to absorb any of that? Because I've got a lot on the defensive line here.
This isn't my defensive question later, but I am scared.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very concerned because the lack of communication, the disorganization in the back seven was stunning to watch. And look, the pass rush wasn't doing much anything to help him anyway. Outside of that, but they were just so I'm legitimately worried. I know it's a small sample size, but it just feels like this group has a long way to go, and there doesn't seem to be a ton of known commodities in the secondary that give me confidence right now. And that's not a great place to be. And you're hoping for, I think you're hoping for is the ascension of Jaden Hicks. And I think Jaden Hicks has the ability. We've seen Jaden Hicks play better than he played in week one.
Absolutely.
But man, it's just a rough first impression for someone that has a lot of pressure on him. The ceiling of the safety room falls on Jaden Hicks. Mm-hmm. You're not getting anything different of Chamari Connor. I don't think you're getting anything different of Brian Cook. They are what they are. But Hicks is the guy that they point to and say, okay, it's not like a Justin Reed like for like, but it's somebody that has the abilities and has shown some ability to do some of the things that guy can do. And the first impression for the 2025 season in that regard was just really rough. And so I'm a little trying to suss out reaction versus overreaction right now is tricky because it's one game and it was a
For
12-hour flight and it was a 2-hour bus ride to the stadium. And the energy.
And they got in late. There's a lot of things that we could hang this on. They can come out in week 2 and look awesome. And I'd be like, okay, well, I know we generally know what happened in week 1. Yeah.
I don't think the bus ride is why you can't sort of switch release to save your life.
Yeah. Keenan Allen being that open in your secondary is inexcusable. I don't Keenan Allen is as fast.
Craig is lining up and open.
Yeah. Keenan Allen is as fast as Kent and I put together right now. So, I mean, that's difficult. If you're looking for solutions, Christian Fulton barely played in this game, and he was disconnected from the defense as well. The communication wasn't there for him, but the defense did look a little better in the middle of the field when you got to kick Trent McDuffie inside. I know that's no surprise to anybody listening to this right now, but there is a potential silver lining there. And now that may end up pushing Jaden Hicks off the field, but maybe that's what he needs to grow as a safety and get a little bit better, have some more time learning the defense, whatever the case may be, if Fulton can come up to speed. Okay, I want to talk about the defensive line. And when I talk about the defensive line, I'm going to talk about Scott Matlock. Scott Matlock is the fullback for the Los Angeles Chargers. Scott Matlock was a defensive end at Boise State and is a converted fullback. He converted last year for the Los Angeles Chargers. First year that he had played fullback. He is a large individual. He's 6'4", 296 pounds. He is a guy that they line up to move bodies in the run game. Which is why when he came out, and this goes to my Greg Roman bit here, when he came out, half of the snaps that he was on the field for the Los Angeles Chargers, they threw the ball. He was on the field for 19 snaps. They threw the ball 9 of those snaps. I realize that's not half, but for all intents and purposes, just go with me on this. Last year, when he was on the field for the Chargers and he played 370 some snaps, they threw the ball less than 20% of the time with him on the field. So I get that this is a tendency breaker, and I understand why maybe some early confusion with Scott Matlock on the field in 21 personnel being like, okay, well, this is clearly a run. We are going to play the run. What I don't understand is that after about the second or third time that Scott Matlock lined up as an H-back, crossing the backside of the formation, and then they're snapping the ball while he's in motion, can just easily get out and kick out and drive back George Karlaftis, Charles Omenihu. Those are the Chiefs' 2 best edge rushers, and he destroyed them. This is a fullback, a guy that has not trained at this for very long, second-year fullback, a big one, former defensive end. But that is, I got done talking about Trey Pipkins last week and how much pressure the Chiefs should be able to get through Trey Pipkins. They didn't even let Trey Pipkins block George Karlaftis on these plays. It was a one-on-one rep with a fullback that has just started playing fullback. I want both of those edge rushers to dominate that matchup, and it was the opposite. And it's because they're reading it and going, oh, here comes a run play. I'm going to kick this guy out. I'm going to set the edge and then just let him lean on him. We wonder why there was no pass rush. They're getting advantageous looks. This wasn't just, oh, wow, Trey Pipkins looked really good against him. He didn't. Not really. They were just not playing pass on these downs. And Greg Roman, again, kudos to him. Hat tip to him. Tendency breakers. There was a lot of mesh with, this fullback rushing behind, moving behind the line of scrimmage. There was even one where they ran, the tight end cross the opposite way with the fullback running the opposite way and had the tight end kick out into the flat. That was an easy completion for Herbert. That was all very positive for Greg Roman and what they did there. But I just sat there and was just stunned by the fact that the Chargers thought, well, let's see what happens if we kick out this fullback. Let's see how many times we can do this in a row. And 9 passing plays, and they were true drop back passing plays, not quick passing plays. They were true passing sets. The Chiefs' edges just sat there and could not get around this dude that, frankly, George Karlaftis should be able to just chop his hands, move right on out of the way, and get a pressure on the quarterback, and it didn't happen. And so it goes back to the whole energy element that they've been talking about all week long. They didn't come with the right kind of energy. They didn't come with the right kind of effort. They've acknowledged that. I don't feel like I'm speaking out of school by saying that, but my goodness, you have to win your positive one-on-one matchups, and they just didn't on the defensive line all day, Kent.
Well, you want to talk about like tendency breakers a little bit too. Like they turned around and handed the football off 16 times in that game. Justin Herbert attempted 34 passes. He had 7 carries, and I would venture almost all of them were scrambles. So, I mean, the amount of, tendency breaking, the run pass ratio was severely distributed differently than some previous matchups, right? And so to your point, right? Like, yeah, there definitely was some, showing a little bit more, maybe breaking some tendencies a little bit earlier, maybe trying to mix some things up, trying to sneak out a win because they're sick of playing the long game here a little bit with the Chiefs and just taking care of business in week 1. So a lot to work on there for the Chiefs. And I'm fascinated to see, how big of an excuse is this energy thing?
I know.
We're going to find out in a few days.
They have talked about it all week. So there's going to be an extreme focus on that. Like every one of us that has heard any of the pressers is sitting there going, okay, so you're blaming the fact that you came out flat. Better not come out flat against the Eagles then. You better be flying around against the Eagles in week 2. You can't come out and say, we got to do better. We got to match the energy. You come out flat again. That ain't an excuse anymore. That's just a problem that you got. Okay.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I know you have some sultry takes here that are going to be music worthy in a second.
Yes.
We are going to get to those, but
okay.
I think we'll get to them right after the break because I am calling all Chiefs fans. You could be on the field at the 50 inside GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now. Enter to win a chance to be on the field for a once-in-a-lifetime view of the pregame coin toss. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs, and they are. It's been lovely to get to know some of the people out there at GEHA. So make sure you're signing up. Make sure you go check that out. Chiefs.com/GEHA. We're gonna take a break. We'll be back right after this.
Shop Chiefs tickets and more with no fees. Plus, save big with code KCSN at ticketsforless.com, the official ticket provider of KC Sports Network.
What's up, guys? I'm BJ Kissel, founder and CEO of KC Sports Network, and I'm here to talk to Kansas City businesses. If you rely on technology, you need an IT support team that's not just another vendor, but a true IT partner. That's why I want to introduce you to my friend and neighbor, KJ Miller. He is a VCIO at ThrottleNet, the Midwest's highest rated and most reviewed IT support company. They've been in business for more than 25 years, helping companies stay secure, productive, and ahead of the curve. They aren't just IT support, but they provide data security, IT strategy, and cloud software services. They do it all, and their reviews show they do it better than anyone else. So if you want to hear about how ThrottleNet can help your local business, join the conversation with myself, KJ Miller from ThrottleNet, and our resident genius from KC Sports Network when it comes to IT, at least as he's affectionately known by us, Mr. Craig Stout. Click the link in the description to hear how ThrottleNet can help you.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Let's get into the good stuff, all right? I know that I just got done running down this defense. There's a lot of worry there. But ladies and gentlemen, Patrick Mahomes is back. We have watched too many seasons at this point of Patrick Mahomes looking like a shell of his former self. Unable to complete deep passes, really not able to make anything go on the offense. Everything seemed difficult. And what we saw in week 1 was great. It really, really was. And no, I'm not just talking about, laying horizontal and completing a pass, to Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm talking about the deep throw to Tyquan Thornton, running across the field, throwing across his body, also deep down the field, finding open guys consistently. This looked like schoolyard ball again, and I mean that in the best possible way. So yes, there are some deficiencies on this offense. Still can't really run the ball very well. Offensive line could have played better. Hollywood Brown has bricks for hands sometimes. That being said, Patrick Mahomes went out there again after losing Xavier Worthy 3 plays into the game, who they built the entire game plan out of, and had to take the shell of Travis Kelce, bricks for hands Hollywood Brown, Tyquan Thornton, Juju Smith-Schuster, and get these guys to play at a high level. And he was unreal. What we saw in the second half out of this offense is what we expected this offense to look like. And they didn't even have their 2 best wide receivers on the field. This was everything that we'd hoped. This defense will get better. Steve Spagnuolo will make it better. We'll see how much better it gets. I'm not assured that, it's going to be a top 10 defense, even though I ranked them that 2 weeks ago, purely guessing that Spags was going to pull him there. We'll see. I feel very confident in saying that even if Xavier Worthy misses time, even if they're going to play these next 5 games without Worthy and Rashee Rice, this will be a top 10 offense because Patrick Mahomes looks like that guy again, and in the best possible way. So on offense, I think the arrow is pointing significantly up. I am excited to see what he does against some very good defenses in the upcoming weeks without these wide receivers. I think that by week 10, we are going to hear significant buzz for Patrick Mahomes as the MVP once again. And yes, I know the league does not want him to be MVP again, and voters won't want to vote for him.
Haters, some say.
He will refuse to let them not vote for him. I'm excited to watch this offense again, even without the wide receivers. So that's the end. 7 minutes in heaven. I'd like to end on a high note here. Let's get to the Eagles camp.
I just want to let the record show that that music was playing and Craig Stout said laying horizontal.
Oh, you're right. And I was talking about Patrick Mahomes. Just saying.
I get it. Let's get this thing started, though. It is the game preview edition of the KC Laboratory. And we are going to, we're kind of keeping that format we tried last week. We liked it. We're going to ask some questions to each other, both sides of the football. So we're starting on the offensive side, as we should, Patrick Levon Mahomes. And let's get the first question up there. I don't know if it's Craig or is it
No, you go. I have spoken way too much on this podcast, Ken.
Break this up.
way too much. Yeah, break it up.
I'm itching. Yeah, throw mine up, Tuck.
He's not making a graphic.
I have no graphics. You gave me your question 5 seconds before we started the show.
Yeah, Tuck, I don't think is your mic on? It's like it sounds different. I don't think your mic's the input. That's what's going on.
Yeah, that's the problem. That was the problem. Okay, all I'm saying is that you gave me your question 5 seconds before we started the show. That's why we have no graphics.
No graphics for either of us?
Also correct.
Okay. Perfect. Professional.
I'm not just doing one graphic. I'm doing it all, or I'm not doing anything. I'm not gonna half-ass 2 things. I'm gonna whole-ass 1 thing.
So here's my question.
I love you, Tuck.
I love you too, Tuck. Here, hold on. Let me do this real quick. Let me write it. Just.
Oh shit! I don't have a pen.
Just stall for a second, Tuck.
So, how about those Kansas City football Chiefs? Is that how we're stalling right now?
Yes. All right, here we go. I have a question for us, and it is, what does the pass catcher shuffle look like? That's my question for the offensive side of the ball. And here's, like, we know Xavier Worthy's not going to be playing this game, and we got news today. Jalen Royals did not practice. It does not seem optimistic to me that, we're going to see Royals in this game, which is disappointing. You would think without him going on the IR, it's probably maybe next week, right? Because, like 4 games, like maybe, they had a plan there. They had a plan. They didn't think it was going to be too long. But him not practicing at least makes me think that we're probably not going to see probably not going to see him in this game. So that means basically the players that we saw at the end of that Chargers game are what you're rolling with for this. And by the way, the offense looked better in the second half. They did some good things offensively. And like Craig said, Craig was getting excited about Patrick Mahomes, and he should be because he was incredible. But I'm fascinated to see like how the roles get divvied up, because Hollywood Brown was running things that he shouldn't have been running in that game. Like they were dialing some stuff up to him that would have gone to Xavier Worthy in other situations. And I don't think that's going to be the case as they walk into this game. They are going to have packages for players like, I don't know, Brashard Smith, maybe, to be a little bit more of the gadget DeAnthony Thomas stuff that they try to run with Xavier Worthy. I think Tyquan Thornton will be the vertical stretch threat in this game, similar to the last time that these two teams lined up. I think they're going to push the ball down the field a little bit with Tyquan Thornton. And I think Juju Smith-Schuster is running mesh, because I don't think his shoulder will pop out if they make contact. So I think his
hip might, but not his shoulder.
So I think you're going to see I think there's an attempt to try to, I think there will be an attempt with all the different facets to try to replace Xavier Worthy in the aggregate. You're not actually replacing Xavier Worthy. You're just taking that different elements of this offense, trying to mesh them together with the players that you have. And I have a couple other things that I think they might try, but I mean, I think it's just a divvying of responsibilities to players, and maybe some players that we haven't really seen a ton of yet.
Yeah, I think it's going to be another heavy Hollywood Brown target game. Maybe not 16 targets. That was steep. But again, he knows the offense and can do a lot of run similar routes. I got ready to say do a lot of the same things that Xavier Worthy can. No, he can't. But can run some of the similar route tree and still keep guys like Juju on the field, Tyquan on the field. I think we see a little different lineup there. It's not going to be 16 targets. I still think it's going to be a heavy volume target. I think we see a lot more attempts to get down the field with Tyquan Thornton. Vic Fangio, notorious for showing too high coverages, shifting into single high, especially when you're running a lot of stuff in the middle of the field. Right now, with what the Chiefs have at wide receiver, you're probably looking at Hollywood Brown in the short and intermediate. You're looking at Travis Kelce in the short and intermediate, and you're looking at Juju Smith-Schuster in the short and intermediate. They're going to probably spin into single high a lot, and if they're spinning into single high a lot, I'm taking that shot downfield to Tyquan Thornton over and over again. We saw him connect once, Patrick Mahomes and Tyquan Thornton. The other two earlier in the game, those were on Patrick. He just wasn't dialed up right with that. You saw him start to get it dialed in. I think we're going to see a lot more of that. I think we're going to see a lot more mesh concepts. I think we're going to see a lot more
mesh
bubble concepts. I know. It's fine. It's fine. It will be fine. A lot more bubble concepts to some of these guys as well. Please not to Hollywood, because I just need this man to run forward. Like, that's it. Just run forward, buddy. But, maybe a Nico Remigio factors into the offensive game plan a little bit. I know that they are, using him as a returner, but hey, when times are tough here, you got to find ways to get guys on the field right now. I like the Brashard Smith pick. I would like to see him integrated a little more. He got run. It's not like he wasn't on the field last week. Yeah. They obviously trusted him to do a little bit there. And if you're going to go up against the Eagles, who may or may not be blitz heavy, I know that we notoriously didn't see them blitz heavy the last time these two teams played in the Super Bowl last year. That was also without Jahad Campbell, who's an awesome blitzer. Maybe if you feel like you don't have to leave somebody in pass protection all the time to try and help, Brashard Smith makes a lot of sense to try and get a dynamic player in some space. I think that's a good call. I would like to see a little more dedicated shuffle among some of these guys, especially now that you don't have a full game plan built around a guy that's getting hurt 3 plays into the game. Ideally, knock on wood. I'm knocking on all the wood right now, everybody.
Still Hollywood, baby.
Yeah.
I think I will say, like, one thing, just adding on to Hollywood real quick. I think Hollywood got better as the game went on. Like, he definitely started out really slow, and like I think he made some mistakes early in that game, and then I think the second half he really kind of came to his own. The game wasn't as this guy hasn't played very much football the last few years. I thought he looked a lot better as that game went on. So hopefully that continues. I mean, 16 targets, whatever, but hopefully not that many, but hopefully like he can still take some steps and do what he was doing in the second half more.
And he admitted it. I mean, I thought that was good of him in his presser today to stand up there and be like, man, I was not very good. Like I have a lot of plays that I wanted back, but got to kick the rust off a little bit. So hopefully we see a little bit better player there. All right. My offensive one, how to counter Vic. So kind of goes hand in hand with some of this. Vic Fangio, obviously, if you've been following football over the past 6-7 years, you saw the rise of the Vic Fangio defense and then the fall of everybody that wasn't Vic Fangio trying to run the Vic Fangio defense. He's been the only one that's been able to dial it up correctly, and man, he does an excellent job of it in Philadelphia. What we're going to see is Quinyon Mitchell on the outside. Last week, he followed around George Pickens, mostly because CeeDee Lamb is all over the place. He's lining up in the slot. He's lining up outside, whatever the case may be. So they wanted a guy that they were going to be able to follow to either side of the field. He followed George Pickens, and that was a dogfight between both of those guys. Like, they were throwing hands. There were penalties both ways. There was a lot of back and forth in that. Cooper DeJean, the other superstar corner for this defense, they want to keep him in the nickel. Vic Fangio even admitted today, it's like, yeah, we understand that we're rotating a lot of guys in at the other cornerback spot. We haven't really given thought to playing Cooper DeJean anywhere else other than the nickel position, which makes sense. He's an excellent nickel corner. He's great against the run. He's a pretty good blitzer when they do blitz, which isn't a ton. So you've got a guy that you want to keep there. Hey, Specs, that's just like Trent McDuffie. Hey, see what Vic's doing? Do that with Trent, please. The other guy that they have right out there is Adoree Jackson, that they are playing semi-significant snaps right now. That's not great. Jackson was not good last week, really not good. And they don't want to play Keely Ringo either. Ja'Cory Bennett even got run, and he just got traded to this team. So there is a corner position that has the ability to get some space and get open. There are guys on this team. Hollywood Brown can break off those sorts of guys. Tyquan Thornton can run by everybody but Ja'Cory Bennett, but who knows where Ja'Cory Bennett's going to be looking when Tyquan Thornton runs by him. These guys on the other side of Quinyon Mitchell, away from Cooper DeJean, whoever it is that's over there can get got by this offense. Now, how many times they can get got, that's going to depend. Vic Fangio will gladly shift back into that too-high structure again if you need to. But again, like I said, I think that they're going to focus on the middle of the field and trying to defend the middle of the field from the Chiefs, especially since the Chiefs are being really loud about how they need to run the ball better. Kick a guy down in the box. Vic wants to play with 7 in and around the box. They're going to move that safety down there. Try and hit him over the top a few times with a Tyquan Thornton, with a Hollywood Brown, whoever it is over there. Get some of those deeper passes. He will shift into that too-high structure. Now you can get into and counter some of the ways that you can beat them in the middle of the field with Kelsey, Juju, Hollywood. That's how you have to play this. I think you come out looking for that explosive play right off the bat. It's not like the Super Bowl. You can't be hitting them late. You got to hit them early. Force him into that more of that too high, force Vic to think twice about bringing that safety down into the box, and really make him kind of put the spin cycle on that corner position. Make him try multiple guys there, reduce that communication. Cowboys did a good job of taking advantage of that. They really did do a good job of taking advantage of that. At a certain point, they realized, oh, well, maybe we don't put CD in the slot anymore because Dory Jackson can't hang with this guy. Of course he can't. So do that. Focus on that corner, target that one guy, and try and craft a game plan around that.
Last time we saw these two teams, like I said, Chiefs got aggressive. Like they wanted to be aggressive down the field. And that was with different personnel too. Like that was different personnel on the Eagles side and arguably better personnel in some regards on that offensive side of the ball. But I wonder if that is something is just trying to be more aggressive down the field, take some shots when the opportunities present themselves and really challenge some of those guys. And then hopefully some things will open up through the entirety of the defense if you're able to do that a little bit. And I think that brings us to offensive players to watch because you can do all that stuff and we can drop all kind of fun 7-on-7 plays. But this is on the offensive line, especially the left side of this offensive line. Remember that Jalen Carter guy? He played last season for the Eagles. He's back this week. Pretty good ball player. And if I were going to guess, I think that he's probably going to line up a lot over Kingsley Suamataia. That would be my guess for this game. Jalen Carter will be challenging Kingsley. And he might. Maybe they just put him over Trey and see if Trey can hold up too. Because I don't know if Trey's the best matchup for him either. But
not.
He's not a good matchup for just about anyone.
Uh-huh.
But I do think Kingsley's going to get tested significantly in this game, and so will Josh Simmons. I think both sides, the left side of this offensive line, is the key to this game. And if you want to try to push the ball down the field like they intended to do in the Eagles in the Super Bowl last year, but couldn't because they were getting wrecked play after play up front. If you want to sustain offense, if you want to run the football, it starts with those guys up front. And I think they're in for a challenge this week. I think they're going to challenge themselves to be better than what they were last week, especially running the ball. So I think this is a massive, massive test for a rookie left tackle and a second year, but first year playing left guard against one of the best, better D lines in football, even though they lost some guys, and especially Kingsley with the interior.
Yeah. No, I like that pick a lot. I am terrified of Jalen Carter, especially after he got kicked out before he even played a snap last week. That guy's probably itching to play some football. So he could be a one-man wrecking crew there. Yep. Good way to try and stop that. Being able to run the ball against a player that's trying to penetrate on every single snap. I'm not looking at the offensive line here. I'm looking at you, Isiah Pacheco. We saw him look better in the preseason. We saw a player that maybe had a little more pop to his game than we've seen before. Looked like he was running still angry, but a little less, like pounding the ground with his feet. It was positive momentum that we got to see. We need to see the best version of Isiah Pacheco in week 2 in order for this team to really feel like they can get into a comfort zone, get into play action passing, get into some of the things that they need to be able to lean on, especially without their 2 best wide receivers. So they need a guy that is going to make the right read and hit it with conviction. And that is something that Isiah Pacheco does well. He wants to play football downhill. He wants to run over guys. There are good linebackers and good defensive tackles in the middle of this field. I don't expect that Isiah Pacheco is going to be able to run through Jihad Campbell, run through Zach Bond, or run through the forest of giant big men that they have in the middle of this defense. What I want for Isiah Pacheco is to get this team into 2nd and 6. I need him to make the right read, hit the right hole, drive forward, get that extra 1.5 yards, because being in 2nd and 6 against Vic Fangio versus 2nd and 8 or 2nd and 9 is all the difference in the world. You limit what he can call on those 2nd down plays that set them up on those 3rd and longs. You can get into your bag a little more. You can run the ball again and maybe get another 3 yards and put it in 3rd and short. But it has to come down to these running backs executing at a higher level than we have seen lately. So my player to watch is Isiah Pacheco, because a good for him Pacheco game isn't going to look great on the stat sheet. I'm not expecting 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Give me 48 yards and a tutty, but those 48 yards are on 1st down, keeping them ahead of the sticks with a high success rate. What we saw last year, They can do that against the Eagles this week. You just put a defensive coordinator in a bind. My guy to watch is Isiah Pacheco.
I love that, because if you're going to challenge your team to the lack of energy, why don't you just turn around
goodness.
and hand the football to the Energizer Bunny?
Yeah.
Like, just wind him up and just see what happens. Just let him just kind of, we'll see where he goes. It may not always be in the hole. It might be, might be in the back of one of those running back or offensive line. But let's bring your own energy. And I think Isiah Pacheco is going to do that at a big clip in this game too. We're going to take a break. We'll talk about the defensive side of the ball right after this.
What's good, everyone? It is KCSN betting analyst Benny Heiss. Something hit me as I was driving to the Missouri side, ironically, for something not available on the Kansas side. I cross over. I just can't get over how long sports fans in the state of Missouri have been waiting. It feels like forever. Good news is you don't have to wait much longer, because DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is finally coming to the Show Me State. And if you're thinking, yeah, but I got to wait on the sidelines until December 1st, it's not true. You can sign up right now. And when we go live, new Missouri customers get $300 in bonus bets just for placing a $5 bet. $5. That's not even as much as a pumpkin spice latte that's going to take over. So it's not some ragtag sports, but this is DraftKings. You got live in-game betting. So if your team starts hot, you could jump in mid-play. There's lightning fast payouts. None of that wait 3 days for your money nonsense. And you've got more ways to get in on the action. There's no better way to start. It's all from your phone. When we go live, you'll be betting with the sportsbook trusted by millions, safe, secure, fast withdrawals, everything you want. Well, except maybe a guarantee that your team will cover the spread, but that part's still on you. So here's the move. You download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use code KCSN, and when we go live December 1st, that $5 bet turns into $300 in bonus bets. That is code KCSN in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus and physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after they are issued. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
I'm Brett Goodwin, one of the owners of The Learning Tree. The Learning Tree is a neighborhood toy store in Prairie Village, Kansas. This has been here in this location since 2000s, and my husband Alan and I purchased the store in 2023. Alan and I grew up in families where we've always wanted to have a business together. Alan grew up, for instance, his parents had a jewelry store. I worked in a local toy store here in Prairie Village when I was growing up. When this opportunity happened in 2023, we knew right away we wanted to contact them and pursue the store. We wouldn't have been able to get the store without the team at Emprise Bank. From the day we contacted them, they knew what we needed to do, which was very helpful. I would absolutely recommend the team at Emprise Bank to anyone looking to secure a business. We worked with Emprise from day one. They were extremely helpful. They were always great resources. We talk to them frequently. They know the area. They're very friendly. We know who we're going to talk with, and they know what we need to do. We hope we'll see you at the Learning Tree.
It is defensive side of the football time, and I've got a big question. Let me put it up on the screen for you all. There it is. Do the rookie D-line step up? Here's the thing. We're probably going to be seeing Omar Norman Lott. He practiced today. We've already seen a small sample size of Ashton Gelati in that first game. Did some positive things in that game that I think was worth maybe looking at. You talk about Ashton Gelati might be the Energizer Bunny. He might be the Isiah Pacheco of the defensive side of the football. That is a title that he might be holding sooner rather than later. I think if there's going to be any upside to this pass rush and upside to this defensive line, it's going to fall on the rookies. And, I think we're probably going to be seeing Omar Norman Lott for the first time in this week's game. And if that's the case, let's see what he got, man. Like, the Chiefs badly need to replace Tershawn Wharton. They need to replace what they lost from him. And if they're not able to get something in the aggregate for him, like, that's going to be a problem. So let's see what Omar Norman Lott can do unleashed. He wasn't even, I don't even believe he was on the injury report. Oh yeah, he was. He was a full participant though. Let's see what unlocking these rookie defensive linemen can do for this pass rush, because they badly need it. Not just pass rush, just in general against the run and rushing the passer. I think the upside comes from Ashton Gelati and Omar Norman Lott.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to put it fully on the rookies, but frankly, I want to see something else. Yeah. come off a game like that where you just don't get pressure from a fairly highly paid defensive line there with a lot of expectations. Hey, give me the guys that don't know better, haven't been there, or not sitting there going, that's just week one. We'll get into that. They're hungry. They want to get out there and play. I want to see what Norman Lott brings to the table here. No offense to Derek Nottie, but the fact that we have this rough revolving door next to Chris Jones right now that did an okay job stopping the run last week against a team that was really focused on passing the ball. We're going to see a lot more run this week. If Norman Lott can line up, play the run pretty decently, help the team out a little bit, and get a little bit of pressure on Jalen Hurts, boy, you're going to hear us change our tune about this defensive line pretty quick. You just need another guy. I think we know that Charles Omenihu, George Karlaftis, Chris Jones, certainly Chris Jones, can be guys that get back there, take over the game a little more. It's that other piece, and it's the other depth. And when those guys can't get home, who can you rely on? A little more Ashton Gelati, a little more Norman Lott. I'm excited to see him take the field. And frankly, I don't know that you could have convinced me that I was going to be excited to see Norman Lott play significant snaps for this defense. 2 months ago, 3 months ago? I was not a guy that was really excited for that specific player. I am now. I can kind of see what they're trying to do with him. Let's see what it looks like when the bullets are live.
Yeah, I think we badly need to see something out of these guys, unfortunately. And it's the same cast of characters, and if you're gonna get some upside, it's got to be from these two. And I like watching Ashton Gelati play. I like watching Ashton Gelati play football, man. He's Matty called him the other day. He called him ball of chaos. And I think that's just like the perfect phrase. That's kind of like what Isiah Pacheco is for the offensive side of the ball. Craig Stout, what's your big question?
My big question that I have on this side of the ball, I'm pulling it up real quick here.
Are you writing it?
Can the Chiefs? No, I'm not. I should have put it on my phone and just held my phone up there. Can the Chiefs win against heavy personnel? I just got done talking about the way that the Chargers lined up and how that was not great for the Chiefs defense when they were in heavy personnel. Guess what the Eagles did last week? They ran a lot of 12 and 13 personnel on the field. For those who don't know those numbers, that is 3 tight ends on the field. They had Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra, and Kylen Granson on the field. Thank you, Kent, for writing that down. I really appreciate that. Dallas Goedert right now is not practicing. He's got some knee soreness. There is a question over whether or not he's going to play in this game. But when this team lined up in 12 and 13 personnel last week against the Dallas Cowboys, they found a ton of success. Kylen Granson lined up a lot as a fullback and was out in the route quite frequently. They like to get him out there. They threw the ball a lot out of 12 and 13 personnel. I don't know about you, but I just got done watching this team line up against heavy personnel and not be able to defend the pass well because of how many players they had on the field and the types of players they had on the field. That scares me a little bit to know that not only is Nick Bolton going to be fully responsible for some of these coverage asks, so is Leo Chanel, who is not playing his best football against the pass at the moment. So I do not want to see this team play against heavy personnel as frequently as they felt comfortable trotting this out against the Dallas Cowboys. I will say, if Dallas Goedert is out, that may limit some of what they feel comfortable doing. Again, Kylen Granson was more of a fullback. I don't know how many real snaps that they have in the offensive playbook to say, okay, well, Grant Calcaterra, who we don't really put on the move a ton. We're not really like throwing him the ball a whole bunch of times. We have him as more of an inline blocker guy, and Kylen Granson, who we have as more of a move guy out of the backfield. They don't really have probably a whole lot of 12 personnel plays with those two guys on the field together. That's not something that they're really flexing. So one of these guys is probably going to have to fill the Goedert role. And if that's the case, They're probably not going to feel comfortable going to Kylan Granson in the backfield a ton. Again, 21 personnel, not a heavy playbook thing for the Eagles right now. If they're in 11 personnel, that's where things change pretty dramatically for the Eagles last week. Jalen Hurts seemed confused with 11 personnel out there. I think everybody made a giant deal over the fact that A.J. Brown got practically no targets all game long. He really wasn't a factor in the game whatsoever. I'm certain they're going to come out and try and feed him the ball against the Kansas City Chiefs, especially if Trent McDuffie's matched up against him. Don't love that matchup. But against 11 personnel, Jalen Hurts struggled to even get the ball out and chose to run. Try and pick up everything with his legs. He was highly successful because that's what he's really, really good at. The Chiefs see a lot of 11 personnel because Dallas Goedert isn't there and they don't feel comfortable calling the 12 and 21 looks with these two other tight ends. I feel really good about putting a spy out there and trying to keep Jalen Hurts in the pocket and trying to make him force throws against looks that he clearly does not like as much as he does from those heavier personnel looks. So the heavy personnel stuff, they got to win when they get that look, and they got to do some of that. If Dallas Goedert gets to play, I'm a little bit worried about the offense and where they're going to be able to do that. They got to win at the second level. They got to win in coverage against those guys. If Goddard isn't there and they have to play lighter personnel, I start to get really excited about what Steve Spagnuolo can do to try and corral Hurts and try and force this team into more of a throwing team, which Hurts didn't really want to do that much last week.
Yeah, I wonder how much they just turn around and hand the football off to Saquon in this game, too. Like, I'm fascinated. Like the Chiefs held up well against the run last week. I'm just kind of curious to see, like, not just with heavy personnel, but just in general, like how much do they just try to run the football a little bit? And maybe they don't because they know that Jalen Hurts can scramble too, and the Chiefs had so much struggle. They had so much troubles with the scrambling as it was. The Chiefs did with Justin Herbert running the football around Brazil. Now it's Jalen Hurts, a little bit better runner. Herbert's fine, but Jalen's a little
Herbert's got some juice. He's got some athleticism.
And Hurts just came off a game where he was scrambling like crazy too.
Hurts is just awesome in this offense specifically. So yeah.
So I'm heavy personnel and just the run pass ratio are things like I'm kind of paying attention a little bit to here. So I think we'll see what they come up with. Defensive players to watch. I'm gonna take a low hanging fruit here thing because I think last week was a big moment for that defense too at the end of that game, right? Where you saw some tension flare. You saw some frustration starting to boil over a little bit. I think Chris Jones will respond tremendously in this game. I think this will be the best version of Chris Jones that we've seen since the 2023 season. I think he is going to go out and he's going to play a complete game of football, both sides of the football, or both, run and pass. I think he's going to be a more disciplined version of himself in a response to what happened. The do your job mentality that Drew Tranquill was yelling at him for because of that final play. I think Chris is going to have an outstanding game. And if you remember the 2023 season, he played out of his mind because he was doing he was just a menace and he was consistent and he wasn't as much of a risk taker. He wasn't as upfield as he's been in last season, for instance, and what happened in this game. I think Chris is going to play out of his mind. I think this is going to be a massive game for Chris, and he's going to quiet some of the conversation out there in the ether right now. So give me Chris Jones having, I think, the best game he's had in a long time.
I like that pick. I really want to take George Karlaftis because I really just want to rant about the fact that go win your matchup. Like, seriously, just go win a matchup. But it's ain't a great matchup for him. Whether or not he's lined up against Lane Johnson or Jordan Mailata, I don't like it. I just don't. Those guys are too good. So I'm going with Christian Fulton. Christian Fulton is needed on this team if they want to play Trent McDuffie in his best spot, which also shores up the middle of the field, which also allows you to do more complex things with your safeties. You need the best version of Christian Fulton that's on the same page as the rest of the team and is playing the same coverage as the rest of the team. That wasn't always the case in week one. This is a good game for that. A.J. Brown is going to line up outside a lot. We don't want Trent McDuffie playing against A.J. Brown on the outside as a vertical threat. That's just not – we know what that looks like. We've seen it enough times now. I'm sure Trent McDuffie wants it because he wants to show that he can do it. I've seen it. I know what's out there. So give me Jalen Watson and Christian Fulton as your outside corners that are going to match up with those guys. Trent McDuffie with a little bit of help over the top against Jahan Dotson. I love that matchup. Trent McDuffie wins that matchup. Against Devonta Smith, I also love that matchup. He's probably going to lose a couple reps here and there, but he's going to be in phase and keep that guy in his hip pocket for most of the game. If Christian Fulton can go out there and play on the edge, play on the outside, and they actually can trust him to run the same coverage and be on the same page as everybody else, that is the best version of this secondary as we see it and as we have seen it in the preseason right now. So a player to watch is Christian Fulton, and I hope it's because we are watching him play 50, 60 snaps on defense this week and not because he's playing 9 or 12 or whatever the case may be. Let's ramp up that workload and get him out there.
Tucker D. Franklin, you ran a poll.
Yep.
I want to hear about this poll. What was it?
This poll, who wins? Chiefs, Eagles, going on in the chat right now. Currently, as we sit, only 20 votes. You guys got to get your votes up. I mean, come on. As we sit right now, 22 votes, 23 votes. The Philadelphia Eagles, 52%. The Kansas City Chiefs, 46%. As it stands.
Tight race. Craig, you know what? No, I can't walk this one off, guys. I don't know if Craig can walk this one off either, but I know I can't.
Okay.
Prediction time. I'll start.
I know where you're going then. Okay, got it.
I hate the Philadelphia Eagles. Can't stand them. Don't like them. Not a fan. Sorry. I don't need the walking inspirational poster at quarterback. Whatever Nick Sirianni is. Don't like them. I think they're a better football team than Kansas City Chiefs are right now. The loss to Xavier Worthy is going to be big. I think it's going to be a significant one. And I think Mahomes is going to play great. But I don't know if what they have around him right now is going to be enough to beat a very, very good defense, very, very good football team. I am going to I want to be wrong badly. And I do think there's a part of me that wants to pick the Chiefs because I think that they are embarrassed by having the audacity to lose an AFC West game. You know, like the standard's so high in Kansas City, and like I think there is some frustration, and like I think there's reasons to say that this game could refocus them, and maybe some of the excuses and the lack of energy is from things that were associated with going to Brazil and all that kind of stuff. I just don't know if I can pick that right now, but I badly want to be wrong because I'll take the L. I will take the L from the chat. And the Matty picked the Bills will now be Kent picked the Eagles. But I will also run my mouth a little bit on the KCSN postgame show if it happens. So there
are going to be so many words said about Nick Sirianni out of Kent's mouth if the Chiefs beat them.
I'm gonna do the face. And you all know what the face is.
I know the face.
You all know what the face is. 27-24 Eagles. Badly hope I'm wrong.
You know, I like that Kent put me in this position here to really just walk it off here.
And
if Xavier Worthy was playing for this, I would feel a lot different about this team. Eagles have a lot of guys that are game wreckers. Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, who frankly is a really good quarterback in this specific scheme. This specific scheme, he is a truly good quarterback. Not a top 10 quarterback overall in the league. In this specific scheme, he is really, really good. They have a stud offensive line. They have a stud defensive line. They have great linebackers. They have really good corners. Their safeties are iffy, but frankly, we're picking one position here. and it's safety. It's not the most important position in the world on this defense, and the way, especially the way that Vic Fangio runs it. It is really, really hard for me to sit here and say that this Chiefs team in its current state, with how hurt they are, how young their offensive line is. Josh Simmons is about to see the best pass rusher that he's probably ever seen in his life across from him. Kingsley Suamataia, same. So we are about to see this team encounter a bunch of firsts and a bunch of growing pains, and it is well within the expectation that this team is going to go out there, play with a lot more energy, make it a close game, and not be able to come up with a W. But screw it, I'm a damn homer. So we're about to see Patrick Mahomes carry this team in a way that we haven't seen Patrick Mahomes carry this team in several years. And I mean that knowing full well how Patrick Mahomes has carried this team. There's going to be energy. They have spent all week talking about it. They're not coming out flat. They are going to put up the best defensive effort that we can reasonably expect from this set of guys. I think Chris Jones is going to be locked in. I think we do see a better George Karlaftis. I think we see a great game plan from Spags, especially if Goddard doesn't play. And who knows, Landon Dickerson might be out as well, which puts some weakness on that offensive line. We are going to see the best version of everybody. And this is usually when we see Andy Reid turn around and be at his best. He is against the wall. Everybody's going to pick the Eagles. Every single national person is going to pick the Eagles, and for good damn reason. They are going to be without Xavier Worthy, likely in this game. We are going to see Andy Reid have to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, and he's going to do it in this game. And we are going to see the Chiefs squeak out a close one. Boy, I can't wait. It's going to be like a penalty of Quinyon Mitchell, like grabbing Tyquan Thornton on a deep pass or something like that near the end of the game that sets the Chiefs up for the winning field goal. I am going Chiefs 31, Eagles 28. Chiefs win, get to one-on-one. We all exhale a collective sigh of relief and feel like, okay, we can go forward with this season. The future looks good.
Hope you're right, buddy. I hope more than anything you're right. That would be fun. That is going to do it for this episode of the KC Laboratory. Thank you all so much for listening, watching, supporting. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll catch you later.